Hello and welcome to a Right Stand world exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. He's somebody who's been a thorn in the flesh of the Taliban. He's somebody who has said that we will talk as long as you talk and you engage, otherwise it is time for action. He's somebody who's always taken the right stand for his nation, Afghanistan, and its people. It's a pleasure to say hello, namaste and salam alaikum to His Excellency, the first Vice President of Afghanistan, Amrullah Saleh. Sir, thank you very, very much. Mr. First Vice President, my first question to you, and let's take the bull by the horns. Straight question, sir. On multiple occasions, you have said that you are also a victim of the Afghan war and that the Biden administration should actually rethink about withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan. But don't you think this will delay Afghanistan's return into the mainstream?
First of all, we are very glad that the President Biden's administration has started a review process of the so-called Doha Agreement, which has a lot of flaws and cracks within it. And they have increased their consultation with us, which is also a very positive sign. It has been a very complex conflict, a very long conflict, involving foreign factors and a lot of issues. Certainly, there can't be a pressure-cooked peace process and settlement. Therefore, more consultation, more review, and ensuring there are verification mechanisms in place are absolutely needed.
But, Mr. First Vice President, we hear two types of voices within the Afghan people on this matter. You're a politician now holding a very, very important post, a high post in the government. Let me ask you, do you think that the Afghan people also want US troops should stay on in Afghanistan for some more time?
Well, no Afghan wants any foreign troops in Afghanistan. It's not about wishing to see foreign troops in my country. But the question is why these foreign troops came here first place. They came here to make sure that Afghanistan didn't become a safe haven again for terrorism. That threat is not finished. The mission is not accomplished. We are still fighting a group which we have defeated many times. They are not headquartered in Afghanistan. That's why they have not been fully defeated. They still have very close ties with regional terror outfits, with global terrorist outfits like Al-Qaeda, like Daesh, and they have created an ecosystem for terrorism. For as long as this threat is there, it's in the national interest and security interest of NATO and United States to remain engaged and make sure another 9/11 does not happen.
Does not happen. Yes. But also in a recent tweet, you've also said, sir, that you are in a place to prove case by case that post-release, a lot of the Talib prisoners, about 5,500 of them were released, and you said about 85%, close to 5,000, are back to the same job, back into terrorism. What kind of evidence do you have?
We have multiple types of evidence. These evidences are, of course, both circumstantial and hard. Let me first tell you the hard evidence. The hard evidence is some of these people have been captured again as they have tried to be part of the terror campaign in our large cities, or they have been captured again with smoking gun as they have tried to attack our posts and civilian installations all over the country. So we have them, some of them, back in our custody. That's evidence number one. Evidence number two, when in the battle the enemy combatants get killed, we try to find their identity and we proof check it with sources. In our estimate, nearly 200 of them have been killed in battle after they rejoined the ranks of the Taliban. So that's evidence two. Right. And the circumstantial evidence, we have trace of none of them having resorted to a peaceful life with their families as it was promised to us. Our demand then that we put a verification mechanism to ensure that these terrorists do not go back to reinforce the Taliban ranks was not taken into consideration, because United States was the in-between power negotiating, and that style of negotiations was not very helpful, and we were not directly negotiating with the Taliban. And in the meantime, a British university did a study, and they sent researchers to Pakistan and from there to Afghanistan, and they came up with a very detailed study saying 85% of them at least are back in the fight.
Right. So very clearly you're saying that there was an independent research that talked about it. Now a recent UN report also, First Vice President Sir, also talked about the Taliban link with the Al-Qaeda. You just mentioned about the Al-Qaeda and the Daesh. Now two top commanders were also neutralized recently, and they were given shelter by the Taliban. What's your take?
Well, not only the Taliban have not severed their ties with Al-Qaeda, and I fully concur with the conclusions of the UN, but we are also seeing a very disturbing pattern of Taliban and Daesh collaboration at tactical and operational level, which means the Taliban have created a conducive environment and at times providing platform for Daesh to attack civilians and try to create sectarian divisions in Afghanistan. They have not been able to create sectarian division. We are remaining a very united people, to say. 2 days back, our primary intelligence service, the National Directorate of Security, came up with a statement saying that they have apprehended a joint cell of Haqqani and Daesh. They would do the operations depending on the nature of the target. Either Daesh will take the responsibility or the Taliban, or they will both remain silent and let it be an unclaimed attack. So when we say the Taliban ideologically are in a deep brotherhood and alliance with Daesh, it's not an abstract intellectual judgment. We have evidence in hand. So it is matters like these which need very thorough thinking through, which has persuaded the new Biden administration to give a closer look to the Doha Agreement and see if Taliban have lived to their commitments and they have honored their pledges and promises.
Well, if they look closely on the face of it, as you claim, they don't seem to be holding up their end of the bargain. Now, the Afghan government feels, and you've tweeted about it too, that it was perhaps a mistake to blindly trust and on blind faith release the Taliban prisoners. But let me ask you, sir, who did you trust? The pressure groups or the Taliban?
Well, it worked like this as it started. We were assured by the United States negotiating team, and they assured us that they had enough, let's say, enough protective measures to make sure that the Taliban who are released do not go back to the battlefield. But now it seems those measures were not in place. That's one. And now it seems it was a massive concession to the Taliban without gaining much from them for the peace process. The Taliban have not socialized peace literature. They have created this group which serves as a facade, traveling around. But inside Afghanistan, we have not seen a single Taliban operator appreciating peace or showing readiness for political settlement. So we see a deception. The deception is outside Afghanistan, they are promoting the narrative of peace, with the help of the Pakistani establishment. But inside Afghanistan, the military and terror activities have intensified. It's the same with the government of Pakistan. They publicly go around and say they support the Afghan peace process, but covertly they have not reduced their support, i.e., they still provide ammonium nitrate to the Taliban, which is the main material and substance which they convert into bombs and IEDs. Flow of military-grade explosives to Taliban has continued unhindered. Again, we have seen military electronics for detonation of bombs and bomb making. We have captured such equipment along with the Taliban terrorists, and we have traced them back to the sources in Pakistan. So we see this double-track, deceptive policy. Talk peace, but do war. That's what we are seeing on the ground.